grew up in any sort of Christian community at all, whether at home with my parents and my older sisters, or at the many different schools I attended because I was moving around all the time. I always found religion really fascinating, and I learned a lot about it when I lived around the world, but the idea of a faith that I could call my own seemed completely non-existent to me. Even when my older sister Anna came to Christ as a member of Chi Alpha when she was at UVA, and she told me who Jesus is, I couldn't find any way to believe. In high school, my strongest desire was to be wanted. I strived to have academic success, athletic success, to hold any leadership role I could in my really small school so that everybody would see me. In the end, though, nobody really knew me. And I used to come to my room at the end of the day and wonder how if so many people knew my name, I could feel so lonely. Nobody knew at the time, neither my friends nor myself, that deep inside, sin was breaking. In my desperate search for acceptance, I clung to a boy who I began dating shortly after I graduated from high school. And on the outside, I was all put together, as Clara Gainey always is, but the Clara I really wanted to be was wasting away, and that relationship was so unhealthy for me. And when I came to UVA for the beginning of my first year and I had to leave my then boyfriend behind me, I was anything but happy. But God knew exactly what I needed, and He was with me every step of the way. During my first week at UVA, my sister Anna brought me to every single Chi Alpha event. And every time I met someone from Chi Alpha, I finally felt like I could just be myself, and I was really loved for just being me. And I would come home from meeting different people from Chi Alpha and think to myself, I want to be a part of whatever they have. Little did I know that at the time, so many people in Chi Alpha had already been faithfully praying for me even before they had met me. Right away, I began going to M&L and to core group, and for reasons I couldn't explain, I looked forward to Monday nights and Wednesday nights with my core group more than any other nights of the week. The friends I made in my core group quickly became my best friends, and the words I sang in the worship songs were the prayers that I wanted to say to God. Every single question I had, every doubt that came into my mind, it would be answered in scripture or in a sermon, and I would actually laugh out loud during M&L a few times when this happened, because God never let me down. Every week, I also met up with my sister Anna and my core group leader, Ellie. They were so compassionate and so patient and so intentional with me. They answered all my many questions that I had. They read the Bible with me, and they prayed with me. And when I began reading the Bible, I couldn't stop. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever read, and for the first time ever, Jesus began to be real to me. In October of my first year at a worship night, I was surrounded by my core group, and I had my sister by my side, and I looked up at the wooden cross in front of me, and I finally understood the suffering and the pain that Jesus went through, and the sacrifice that He made, and the life that He was offering me. And following Jesus no longer seemed like following a list of rules or like facing condemnation. God no longer seemed absent to me. Jesus was real, and He loved me beyond comprehension, and all He was doing was opening His arms and waiting for me to run into them. That night, I gave my heart to Christ, and I've never turned back. I finally surrendered my control, and my shame, and my anger to the cross. The next morning, I remember looking at myself in the mirror and barely recognizing myself. I was joyful, truly joyful for the first time in my life, and everything around me looked different. It was like a fog had cleared away and I could see clearly. God worked very quickly in my life after that. He called me to take up my cross and to follow Him. And that meant at the time breaking up with my then boyfriend and surrendering my relationships completely to Him. God has continued to change me each and every day this past year with Chi Alpha. He's redeemed me from the darkness of my past relationships and brought me into a really wonderful Christ-centered relationship. I've been blessed to be mentored by Chi Alpha staff and to serve as a first-year core group leader, witnessing the Lord's amazing work that go well beyond my feeble abilities. I've just been amazed at seeing the Lord's work in my sorority, and He's bringing restoration into many of those girls' lives. I've also had the opportunity to travel with Chi Alpha during spring break this past year on another short-term mission trip, which has really opened my heart to the possibility of doing long-term mission work in the future. Today, I still face challenges with my family, questions about my future and lingering insecurities, but today I also stand firm in the God that knows me better than I know myself, and in the Chi Alpha community that's like my family and that's always there for me. Because of that, I'm just so happy all the time. God has changed me forever, and I will never be the same. My name is Clara, and I have been changed.